Hey guys, it's Ross on Space Coach. Today I finally managed to have a look at DC's Legends of Tomorrow, which obviously I've been quite excited for. Here's a review of the first episode, it's got Pilot Part 1. So, it opens in London in 2166, 150 years from now. During the Second Blitz, Vandal Savage has conquered the entire planet, and in the process he's killed Rip Hunter's wife and child. Now, he's a Time Master, and he asks the rest of the Time Masters, their Grand Council, whatever it's called, for permission to stop Savage and to save the world, because billions of people have died. The next we see of him, he's then off to various places, all of them in the year 2016, to assemble his little team. So there's Ray Palmer, the Atom, who is helping the Arrow, then it's Sarah Lance, who's getting drunk in Tibet. It was very much like Raiders of the Lost Ark, when they were in, was it Nepal, I think, were there. It had a good feel to it. Then it's Jackson Stein, who were trying to find out more about their powers as Firestorm back in Philadelphia. But, of course, they're bickering like an old married couple, an old and young married couple, I suppose we should call them. Kendra and Carter, they're also bickering, and she's probably wondering why she ever ditched Cisco to go off with this guy. And of course there's Snart and Heatwave, and they're just basically on the roll. Rip Hunter, he captures them all, kind of like, you know, in Men in Black, where they've got that thing that like shines your eyes and you don't remember anything. He uses that on them, and they all wake up on a rooftop somewhere in Central City. Now, Rip tells them about the future, about Vandal Savage, what's in store for the planet, and the fact that he chose all of those people, you know, those people from everyone who ever lived and all of that, and said, obviously some of them, like, say, the criminals, like Snart, he doesn't care about being a hero. He says, hero's not on my resume, you know, he's great in that role, by the way. And so Rip essentially tells them that none of them are heroes, they're legends, and that does kind of get their attention. He gives them some time to think it all over, because obviously you can't just go on a time-travelling spaceship, you know, you need to have a moment or so to think it over first. They do, of course, essentially all agree to do it for their own noble or selfish reasons, as the case may be, except, of course, for Jax. He doesn't want to be involved, and, you know, he didn't even want to be Firestorm, he only did it to save Stein's life. So, essentially, he gets roofied by Stein. Yeah, it's not very good, and I'm sure that will come back to haunt them. The Hawks, I mean, Kendra, she's not happy about it either, but their method of solving their disputes has always been to fight out. Whoever wins, you go with their decision. Yeah, I know, but, well. So, obviously, Carter wants to go, Kendra doesn't. They fight, Carter wins, they're going. They do show up at the meeting place, and he introduces them to the ship, the Wave Rider, and they all go on board. Heatwave has to carry Jax, because Jax is just sat in Stein's BMW unconscious. Yeah, so board the ship and they take off, and just after it leaves, a bounty hunter called Kronos, who's he's the Boba Fett type character, as it were, that's been mentioned in the trailers previously. He makes an appearance. Two bystanders who happen to see the Wave Rider depart, you know, and it's like, he disintegrates them as they're not integral to the timeline. So anyway, the ship travels back to 1975 to meet Professor Aldous Boardman. Now, if you recall, in the Flash Arrow crossover, there's a brief video of Professor Boardman talking about Vandal Savage and how it's going to be the end of everything. So when they get to, I think it's St. Roque it was, to meet Professor Boardman, he already knows who Carter and Kendra are. I mean, he's actually their son from a previous reincarnation. The reincarnation it would have been in the early part of the 20th century is, I think he's born in 1915. Now, while Rip, Stein and the Hawks are off visiting Professor Boardman, the others are left on the ship. Jax didn't want to go with them, as he said, well, they didn't drug me, you know. He's saying why he's going to stay with the Rogues and Sarah as opposed to going with the others. And so, yeah, that's a good point. So anyway, while they're off seeing the prof, the others decide to get weird in the 70s, as Sarah says, and hit a bar. Although Snart tells Jax he can't come with the cool kids, you know. So I'm looking out for you, so you stay here. Now, Jax, obviously, he's pissed at being kidnapped and also a bit irked at having been left behind. I wonder if he's always going to be the one who ends up getting ditched all the time. He is actually the only one who's left on board the ship when Kronos turns up and starts attacking it. I mean, Stein can sense that Jax is in danger, obviously. We've seen that with Firestorm in the past, with Robbie Amell, when, say, Stein was kidnapped and Robbie was able to track where he was. So they all rush back to the ship, you know, and just as with Professor Boardman also, which they really shouldn't, but I mean the Hawks insisted, their son comes with us. Just as the Rogues get back, you know, as well, they manage to take out Kronos with the car. You know, they do like a sweep and boom, he knocks him flying. They do manage to fight him off. Obviously, Jackson Stein merge, Ray gets his atom suit back on. They're able to fight off Kronos, but Aldous has been badly injured. Now, given that all of this was supposed to be with the Time Master's approval, Rip's got some explaining to do. And he has to admit that he's not actually been authorised by the Council. He's on a rogue mission. Oh, and they aren't legends, they're nobodies. The reason he chose them is they have the least impact on the future timeline. Which obviously none of them are particularly happy about, you know, being told that you're just a loser. Indeed. So he does get punched in the face, deservedly, a few times. First of all by Kendra, obviously, for the initial lie that he was on a sanction mission. And then from Sarah, and I think hers will probably hurt a lot more. So anyway, they demand to know, so why should we help you? You've just lied about everything. How can we trust you? What does it mean to you? What did Savage do to you? What did you lose? And so in the end he has to admit that it's his wife and child being killed is his motivations for it. And you know, it's easier to rationalise doing something based on the deaths of someone close to you, or relative of someone that you know, as suppose, say, 5 billion people. You know, that doesn't mean anything, it's nebulous. Someone you know, you can appreciate that has an impact. So they do all decide to join up this time. Even Jax, you know, I don't know if he's forgiven the Professor, but he's willing to let it slide. Yeah, they all agree that they do want to continue on with the mission to stop Savage. And also, just because they're nobodies in Rip Hunter's current future, doesn't mean that they will be if they manage to succeed with their mission. They might not be heroes, but they do have a chance at becoming legends. It's just as well, of course, that they all decide to go on that mission, because the episode ends with Savage acquiring a nuclear weapon. And episode 2 picks up from that point, which I will review in a separate video. So, Legends of Tomorrow, really glad it's finally here. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I've seen the first 4 episodes, I'll be reviewing them all. It is great. Who's my favourite character? I mean, I have to admit the Rogues are really good. I mean, Snart and Rory, scenery chewing scene stealers. Sarah Lance, she's brilliant as the White Canary. I absolutely love her, especially in that bar fight. Yeah, and he's good as well. The Hawks, yeah, they're alright. They obviously need a bit of work because they're the most recent of the new characters introduced, I guess, other than Rip Hunter. Firestorm's working very well. I do really like this combination of Franz Drama and Victor Garber, you know. It works so much better. As much as I liked Robbie Amell's version, you know, it just didn't quite click, especially with the humour. It just always seemed a little bit strained between them. It's much more natural now, and even just in this one episode, Firestorm has been much better in those sorts of terms, like comedy or whatever, than in the entire appearances he made in The Flash as Robbie Amell. Yeah, they're all really, really good in this show, and I'm really looking forward to following it for the entire season. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment or a suggestion for an upcoming topic, TV show, film, book, whatever you'd like to see discussed, or like the video.